And as we speak, our forces deployed at Malwal House, the forces that joined SSPDF under the overall command of Major General Korishwal Gate, were down attacks by SPLI forces. As we speak, intensive and fierce fighting is ongoing. We'll give you more information once the dust settles.
Major General Lul Rai warned that the continuation of the clashes will lead to the collapse of the peace agreement. Major General Lul said there is need for international intervention to stop the fighting between the peace parties.
My appeal to the international community, to eminent persons in the Republic of South Sudan, including members of the clergy, is that it is high time for them to bear pressure on the leadership of SPLIO, both political and military, to stop their aggression against the National Army. It will not take us anywhere. They need to come back to the table to tell us their grievances. We have the ability and the political will to resolve them amicably.
In response, the spokesperson of the SPLA-IO, Colonel Lam Paul Gabriel, also confirmed the clashes but said their position was attacked by the SSPDF.
The truth is, the fight that is happening currently in the Greater Upper Nile is not the SPLA that has started it. And Lulwa should be very shameful for lying publicly to people. What is happening is that the fight took place in Gol, and Gol is our base. We were attacked by the SSPDF from Malwal Gahot. We did not attack Malwal Gahot. The attackers came from Malwal Gahot. But it happened in Gol. Gol is our base, not SSPDF base.
Colonel Lam also backed on Lul's call for international intervention.
We have already made our call publicly, and we appreciate that he's putting that clearly that he wants also there to be intervention, and that is a sign of working together. But if you don't attack us and then play fall, no, don't. If you really want us to continue with this implementation, then let's mean it as South Sudanese. There is no one who is more South Sudanese here than the others. All of us are South Sudanese, and this can't be blamed for us, to all of us. There is no one who can claim that he is more than the other one here.
On Tuesday, the SPLA-IO Political Bureau approved the suspension of its participation in the security mechanism meetings. The decision came after the SPLA-IO accused SSPDF of carrying what it calls unprovoked attacks on its military bases, including the cantonment sites and Unified Forces training centers. The areas the party cited are Morata Training Center, Kajukeji County, Kaljang Training Center in Rupkona County, Turu Cantonment Site in Maywood County, Lengji Cantonment Site in Mabang County, Peri Cantonment Site in Uror County. Others are Namutina Cantonment Site in Najero County, Mirmir Cantonment Site in Koch County, among others. It urged that the attacks have resulted in the displacement of civilians and the destruction of properties. In response, the SSPDF refuted the allegation, saying its forces were acting in self-defense. The army also dismissed the opposition's claim over its participation in the security mechanism meetings. A religious leader has criticized the peace parties for depending on regional intervention to address issues affecting the peace implementation. Yesterday, the SPLM-IO called for regional and international intervention to resolve differences after it suspended its members participating in the meeting of the security mechanism. This comes after the SPLM-IO on Tuesday announced it will no longer participate in peace monitoring body RJMEC and the security mechanisms. In a two-page letter addressed to RJMEC interim chair, the group accused the SSPDF of carrying out what it called unprovoked attacks on its military bases in Upper Nile region, an allegation the SSPDF denied. Father James Oyet is the Secretary General of the South Sudan Council of Churches. He questions why South Sudanese leaders can't address their differences among themselves and calls for external intervention.
Why do we look always to the IGAD and AU and international community to sort out our issue? We can sort this thing. Why don't we look at each other? Why do you want to go far away and ask someone to come and intervene for us? I believe South Sudanese can sort it out. As we have been solving a lot of things among ourselves, we can do it.
The peace parties are yet to reach a consensus on the command structure of the necessary unified forces. Last week, the head of Sudan Transitional Government, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, presented to President Salva Kiir a proposal on the unification of the peace soldiers. The Al Burhan's proposal aimed at forging consensus on the establishment of a unified, integrated and effective command structure of all peace party forces. The details of the proposal has not yet been made public. The Troika countries had condemned the reported attack by SSPDF on SPLM-IO positions in Jekau and other towns in Maywood County on the Upper Nile State in recent days. Lasuba Memo has more on this story.
The United States, Norway, and the United Kingdom said the incidents followed a series of reported attacks across Unity and Upper Nile states by SSPDF and SSPDF-aligned forces on SPLM-IO positions over the last 2 months. The Troika requests the security mechanisms to provide urgently an assessment of whether these attacks constitute a breach of our access and identify those that bear primary responsibility. The mechanisms include the permanent ceasefire and peace agreement monitoring and verification mechanisms, the ceasefire and transitional security arrangements monitoring and verification mechanisms, and the reconstituted Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission, RJMEC. It warned that incidents such as these and the resulting cycles of revenge attacks risk greater violence in the country. The Troika further said the violence illustrates the destabilizing and malicious effects of incentivized defections, as these are often followed by armed clashes between defectors and their former comrades in arms. The Troika said it is particularly concerned by reported attacks against training centers and cantonment sites which betray a lack of political will to unify and graduate the necessary unified forces, something it said is threatening to undermine the RSS. The three countries then called on the government of South Sudan to exercise leadership and oversight of the nation's security forces to maintain discipline and compliance with the peace agreement. The Western nations also expressed regrets over the decision by SPLM-IO to temporarily withdraw its participation from Citizen VM and RJMEC. The Troika urged all parties to recommit to the RSS and re-engage in good faith in the agreement mechanisms. It is stressed that with less than a year left for the transitional period, wholehearted commitment is critical to get South Sudan past the finish line. But unfortunately, the Western bodies said the recent events signal the opposite and could lead to renewed bouts of violence. In conclusion, the Troika said it will continue to support the parties in their efforts to achieve a stable, peaceful society for all South Sudanese. For iRadio, I'm Lasuba Memo.
You are listening to our radio news. The Sudan Catholic Bishops' Conference has revealed a new logo for Pope Francis' apostolic visit to South Sudan. The new logo seen by iRadio contains the map of South Sudan above a cross and two clapping hands as a symbol of peace and reconciliation. According to the interpretation, the dove placed above the South Sudan map bearing an olive branch represents the desire for peace in the country. The cross placed on the right side of the map represents the country's Christian heritage and its history of suffering, while the two shaking hands represent reconciliation of the various ethnic tribes that make up one nation. Next to the cross is the inscription, Pope Francis in South Sudan, and the date of the apostolic journey. Trile Tombe is the president of the Sudan Catholic Bishops' Conference and the Bishop of El Obeid Diocese. He made the announcement during a press conference in Juba yesterday.
This logo portrays the dove and the contour of the map of South Sudan with the color of the flag, the cross, and two hands shaking. Over the contours of the map of South Sudan is placed the dove that carries an olive branch to represent the desire for peace for the country.
Pope Francis is expected to visit South Sudan on the 5th of July this year. According to the Holy See Press Office, this will be the 37th Pope's apostolic visit logo to be unveiled by the Vatican since its installation in 2013. The motto of Pope Francis' apostolic journey to South Sudan is, "I pray that all may be one," a biblical quote from John chapter 17. Lastly, before moving to stories making headlines in the region and the international scene, traders in Awil North County of northern Bahr el Ghazal are counting losses after fire gathered their 150 shops at Gokmachar Market days ago. Victorina Oken is the area commissioner. He told iRadio that the fire broke out in the afternoon of Tuesday this week. According to him, the cause of the fire was a result of an overheated battery that was put on charging in the market. One person is said to have sustained injuries during the fire incident. Oken, who witnessed the fire outbreak, described what happened.
That one started yesterday at 2. When I was sharing a certain meeting, then the fire broke out. Then the huge smoke rose from the market. And when we confirmed that it is the market that has got burnt. And when we traced the cause of that fire, it was said to be the battery that was being charged. That battery got extraordinary power. And because of that result, the battery burst, and then spread fire, and fire caught number of shops, and that was the cause of fire. Actually, this morning, I took my time to go to the scene, and I got the information that the shops that were burnt were 150, exactly.
Oken said he has formed a committee to investigate and assess the extent of the damage. He added that the findings will be represented to the state and the national government for assistance to the affected traders. You are listening to iRadio News. Now to stories making headlines in the region and the international scene, and brought to you by MTN.
One, two, three. 1 million. 2 million.
Yes. It's time to celebrate. MTN 2 million. MTN has reached over 2 million customers and still counting. Are you? With over 2 million subscribers, why won't you trust MTN?
To enter the draw, get an MTN SIM card today and get free 10 minutes every day for 3 months and 500 MB every month for 3 months. And on top of that, qualify to enter a draw to win 2 million SSP cash.
Sabi, what are you waiting for? Buy an MTN SIM card today and get to win 2 million SSP. Yes, when MTN says 2 million SSP, it's 2 million for one lucky Junubin. Second winner gets 200,000 SSP, 10 winners get 20,000 SSP, and others get lots of MTN branded prizes.
Join MTN, the biggest family in South Sudan, and enjoy such amazing offers.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Thank you, Lugala Mulai. And now for regional and international news. At least 15 people, including a female member of the Somali Federal Parliament, were killed in 2 suicide bombings in Beledweyne town in central Somalia. Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Robo has termed the killing of Amina Mohamed Abdi an assassination. Somali President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo has tweeted a message of condolence. Former Zambia's Foreign Affairs Minister Joseph Malanji has been arrested for alleged money laundering activities. The authorities said Mr. Malanji was arrested for owning a hotel suspected to be bought by proceeds of crime. He is also suspected to have procured a helicopter worth $700,000 from proceeds of crime. Ukraine's President Zelensky has used his latest nightly video address to make an impassioned plea for people to take to the streets to demand an end to the war. As our diplomatic correspondent Paul Adams reports, it's the latest example of how, away from the battlefields, Zelensky has been waging an information war on the capitals of the Western world. He's addressed 10 parliaments in 2 weeks, receiving standing ovations everywhere. Back to you, Lugala Mulai.
Thank you very much. And that's the international and regional news was brought to you by MTN. Now to the stories making headlines in the world of sports with my colleague John Liberio.
Welcome to Sports News. South Sudan senior men's national team, the Bright Stars, have defeated Djibouti 4-2 in the first round of the preliminary round of AFCON 2023 qualifiers. Tito Okello scored the first goal for the Bright Stars from a penalty spot at 54 minutes. Then Toha Rashid added the second goal at 68 minutes before Okello added the third in the 75th minutes. William Gama sealed the win for the Bright Stars in the 89 minutes to make it 4-2. Bright Stars will face Djibouti on Sunday in Kampala for the return leg. The International Handball Federation member arrives in Juba yesterday to train women handball coaches. In basketball, Deandre Ayton scored a career-high 35 points as the Phoenix Suns fought back to beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 125-116 for their sixth straight win. Ayton also made 14 rebounds, while Devin Booker scored 11 of his 28 points in the final 4 minutes, 36 seconds of the match in Minneapolis. The Suns trailed by 15 points in the third quarter, but rallied for their 18th victory from 22 games. Anthony Edwards top-scored for the Timberwolves with 19 points. Victory at the Denver Nuggets on Thursday will confirm the Suns as Western Conference top seeds for the playoffs. In England, Chelsea will be allowed to sell tickets to away games, cup matches and fixtures involving the women's team after the UK government made alterations to the club's special license. The club have been unable to sell tickets since owner Roman Abramovich was sanctioned by the government as part of its response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Under the changed license, proceeds from ticket sales will go directly to the Premier League and then be distributed to the relevant party. The move means Chelsea will be able to sell tickets for their home Champions League quarter-final against Real Madrid on 6 April and the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley Stadium on the weekend of 16 April against Crystal Palace. And that was the end of Sports News with me, John Liberio, and back to my colleague, Lugala Mulai.
You are listening to iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. The South Sudan People's Defense Forces are appealing to the international community, eminent persons and religious leaders to intervene to stop the ongoing fighting in Upper Nile State. A religious leader has criticized the peace parties for depending on regional interventions to address issues affecting the peace implementation. And the Sudan Catholic Bishops' Conference has revealed a new logo for Pope Francis' apostolic visit to South Sudan. That is the end of iRadio Afternoon News. You can get the stories and updates by subscribing to iRadio News Alert on your MTN South Sudan number. Call 700 or dial *700# and follow the instructions. If there's a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 912 986 986. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I had been Lugala Mulai. Thanks for listening.